With the discussions, leaks, and rumors about a Nintendo Direct coming within the next month, I feel that it's a pretty good time to discuss the Nintendo Switch Online service, specifically Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Advance games coming over. What is good, y'all? It is the Young King Ken, and welcome to the kingdom. And today, I want to discuss the chances that games from the Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Advance era make it to the online service. But before we get started, there are timestamps throughout the video if you want to skip through. Without further ado, let's begin. To provide context, Nintendo Switch Online has been around for 2 to 3 years now, and to be honest, the service has felt lackluster. The online has been spotty, and in my prior gameplays on this channel are proof of that. Link in the description. Voice chat is also an interesting feature, but I wish it would have been on consoles like how PS4 and Xbox does, and not on cell phone devices. Also, the topic of this video, the classic game service, which I think is the best part about this experience, provides a variety of first and third party games from the NES and SNES era with additional features such as rewinding and 2-player online support. While the classic game service is great, we're about to go into our third year with nothing to offer in terms of major updates, aside from the new games in the NES and SNES library every once in a blue moon. But in September of 2018, we were able to play those NES games, and in the following September, we were able to play SNES games. So with this trend occurring, 2020 should follow suit, right? Wrong. There are various reasons as to why we didn't see a new console in the service during that year, and the global pandemic that has affected the gaming industry as a whole, despite on what the developers say, could be a pretty good reason. So, you know what, let's just skip 2020 altogether, and now that we're arriving in September 2021, this year has been normalized a bit with the Nintendo Direct schedule, and should they follow suit, then we should be expecting something in September, including major updates on the Nintendo Switch Online service. In my prediction, I think both Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Advance games will be announced in the service. A little later, I will explain why I think this is happening, but I want to talk about the likelihood of each console making it to the service, and what games that could be included, starting with the Nintendo 64 and then the Game Boy Advance. Again, there will be timestamps in the description. Having the opportunity to play Nintendo 64 games on our Switches will be pure bliss. A lot of these concepts in this era evolved into some of the best video games of all time on the Switch, such as Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey, in which I've heard in various forums that Odyssey has been described as sort of like a sequel to Mario 64. However, on the likely scale, I put the chances of Nintendo 64 Online happening is just neutral. This is due to the recent actions that Nintendo has been doing in terms of re-releasing their games. The 3D Mario All-Stars collection is an example, including Super Mario 64 in the pack along with Sunshine and Galaxy. What gives me a sliver of hope is that this was a timed exclusive, and everyone still wonders why this is a timed exclusive. And that during the middle of a pandemic where getting a console was more difficult than floor 10 of the Trials of the Sword on Breath of the Wild. Beginning trials. Trust me, without that sneak attack exploit, whoa boy. Anywho, of course we got the response from Doug Bowser, the president of Nintendo of America, stating that it was because the exclusives was, well, exclusive to the anniversary and wanted to celebrate it in different ways, which is a very PR answer, and left a whole lot out that only we can speculate. If this wasn't a time release and then we hear the news of Nintendo 64 games coming to the Switch via the classic games service, it will present so many issues, because the anniversary pack included Mario 64, which would be a key game in the N64 online collection. Now, a lot of people predicted, myself included, that for the Zelda 35th anniversary, we would get either remasters or re-releases of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. As of editing this video, there has not been any word of those releases, but there has been word of Zelda 35th merch, which at first was weird to me. With the talks of N64 games to the Switch, it would make perfect sense to re-release those games as part of the N64 collection on Switch instead of an anniversary pack. In terms of my neutral standing, in my opinion, it just depends on what Nintendo is going to do with the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. If they get re-released, then I don't think that a N64 Online is happening, and they would just focus on re-releasing old N64 games for close to the full price, similar to the Mario 3D All-Stars collection. But then again, with my terrible track record of Nintendo predictions on this channel, I could be wrong. I mean, they could re-release the HD versions of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and still drop the N64 collection. As far as games that could be included, no, I am not going to list every single game, but some of the more notable ones. To start out, I feel like our expectations, assuming N64 comes to the Switch, need to be a little bit bare bones because of licensing issues with major first-party companies and rivals will definitely limit this list. And I'm definitely looking at you, Rare, which is owned by Microsoft. So I'm not expecting games like Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and Jet Force Gemini to make it on the service. Now, I do feel like Donkey Kong 64 could make it due to the fact that Donkey Kong, the name, is owned by Nintendo. So here are a list of games that could make it. So, Donkey Kong 64, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Excite Bike 64, Rave Race 64, Rayman 2, The Great Escape, International Superstar Soccer 98, Super Smash Bros 64, and I think this one is a little bit questionable due to the whole competitive Smash community and Nintendo shutting down stuff related to that, but I think this one is okay. Melee could be the game in question, but I mean, that's on the GameCube, so I'll carry on. WWF WrestleMania 2000, Ridge Racer 64, Madden 99, 1080 Degrees Snowboarding, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Party 1 through 3. Now, I think this one is also questionable just due to the fact that Mario Party Superstars is coming out, but I think this one's okay. This is just a remastering of some boards and mini games from other Mario Party series. And these were only some of the games that I think could make it. So let me know in the comments if there are games that you would want in this collection. The likelihood of Game Boy Advance, Color, or just any Game Boy game being plopped on that Switch hardware couldn't be any less than certain. My evidence? Nothing. And to again state that my prediction track record is terrible, I'll tone it down to likely. I honestly don't have much to say here, as the Game Boy was a masterpiece of an era. Aside from the original hardware or the Nintendo DS, you can't really play Game Boy Advance games anywhere else, officially. So it would be great to drop these games on the Switch. And it would not be a problem for Nintendo to do this given the graphics capabilities of the current hardware. Plus, imagine the large library of games that we can finally play again. I mean, we're talking about Mario Kart Super Circuit, The Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap, Super Mario Advance, Metroid Fusion, which I heard this is a prequel to Metroid Dread, which is coming out in early October. So this could happen just in time for that. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Yoshi's Island or Super Mario Advance 3, Golden Sun, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Sonic Advance, Pokemon Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire, Final Fantasy Tactics, Castlevania, and WarioWare. Again, that is only naming a few. But now I should mention when I think this is happening. Given that both NES and SNES games were available in September in their respective years, it would only make sense that if a Nintendo Direct were to happen and this were to be announced, then I would say mid to late September would be a good time for these to release. Why? Because while the N64 came out before the Game Boy Advance, with the lack of games on the N64, it would be better to include Game Boy Advance games to add on to the lineup. Also, it has been said that we have reached the middle of the Switch's life cycle, so it would be a good idea to drop both systems into the service now instead of later down the line. It could also serve as another selling point to the new Switch OLED. So, what do you think? Also, what games on the N64 and Game Boy Advance would you like to see? Comment below. And these were my thoughts on the N64 and Game Boy Advance games coming to the Switch. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you want to be a part of the kingdom, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that notification bell for more updates on whenever my vids drop. And until the next video, I will need y'all to keep the kingdom seasoned. Y'all.